Hello and welcome to Tracy Moment Reads. I am back again with another video. Today, I am going to be talking about the book Never Lie by Freida McFadden. Never Lie. And if you are familiar with Freida McFadden, you already know that she writes in the mystery, suspense, thriller genre. And her books are always good for a, jaw-dropping twist and just craziness that, you just wonder, like, what has this lady been through that she even comes up with some of this stuff? And that was definitely the case in Never Lie. So I'm just looking at my notes here. When it first opened, like the first thing I thought, I was thinking about rock, paper, scissors, because the opening, like it's this snowstorm and there's this couple and they're in a car. Very much how, rock, paper, scissors opened. And so when they were driving in that snowstorm, I already knew just from that opening, this is about to get crazy because number one, why are y'all looking for a house in the snow? Because that's what was going on. So there's this couple. Let me back up. Trisha and Ethan. They were, married and embarking on purchasing their first home. So they were out in a snowstorm on their way to meet their realtor to look at this house. And I'm thinking, first of all, she should have canceled that. And then they get to this house that appears to be something straight out of a horror movie. The realtor is not there. And I'm thinking, y'all went to the wrong house. Ain't no way y'all went to the wrong house. But they are convinced they're at the right house and that maybe she got, she couldn't make it because of the storm or whatever. They decide that instead of waiting in the car for her, because they, of course, it's a snowstorm. They didn't have any reception on their phones. They're trying to call her or whatever. They decide they're going to go ahead and go in the house, Then after a while, it becomes apparent they're not getting out of there, right? It's a storm. They're not getting out of there. So they're going to have to spend the night in this house. I mean, there's all kinds of things I could say about how that just didn't seem like a good idea. But what are you going to do? Stay in your car and freeze to death, run out of gas, leaving it running or whatever. So they seek shelter. They're going to spend the night in the house. Then we learn that the house that they're in used to belong to a therapist, a licensed therapist, psychiatrist, woman by the name of Adrienne, and that she went missing. Nobody knows where she is, what happened to her. She's been missing for a while, and that's her house, right? And they think that it's up for sale. And I was just like, red flag, because if she is missing, and then y'all go in this house and there's stuff in there that looks like, it's still her stuff. Like, how are y'all gonna buy that house? Who put the house up for sale? Does she have any, like kids or a spouse or someone that she left behind to handle her estate? But again, you just go with the flow with these type of stories because that's what you're supposed to do. We also start, getting, because the story is told in like flashbacks, present day and past, through Adrienne, when she was apparently around. We were getting her story. And then we're also like learning more about Trisha and Ethan, and they're both a bit nutty. And another thing that we also come to learn, which is probably a giveaway with the couch here, is that Adrienne's practice, where she saw patients, for her therapy business, she saw patients in that house. And because she saw patients there, and I don't know if this is a normal practice for therapists. I haven't seen one in my lifetime, which maybe I need to, but she was recording the sessions, right? It's like patient-doctor confidentiality, and I think it was more so for her own notes so that she could go back and kind of listen in case she didn't catch something in one of the sessions. Well, Trisha, the couple, that she's like snooping around and looking through the house and everything because, maybe they're going to buy it and she wants to see what's there or whatever. She comes across some of the tapes that Adrienne had. And through Trisha listening to these tapes, we get to know some of Adrian's patients. And, I'm not saying that all therapists have patients that are a little off their rockers, but it seems like, and especially in the books that I've read, that most of the people that are going to therapy, like they have some serious issues. And that's no different than, Adrian's patients in this particular book. One of the things I really liked about this book was the short chapters, because it held my attention and kept me scrolling and wanting to know what happens next, because there was a lot of moving pieces. I will tell you that, we are getting Trisha's backstory, her husband Ethan's backstory. There's all kind of weird shit going on in the house. They think maybe somebody's in there with them. We're getting all of Adrian's backstory. We're learning about her patients. So I will tell you that you have to really be focused to kind of keep everything straight as to who the characters are. And because I did slip up a couple of times, like, okay, wait a minute. Is this the same person? Is this person? And then it was just weird that both Trisha and Ethan, like, they were having separate, like, responses about the house. He felt way too comfortable there. Whereas Trisha was like, this place seems haunted. I do not want to live here. Like, this was a mistake. I can't wait for the snow to let up so we can get out of here. And you just start to wonder, like, why was he so comfortable there? And so, that put me on a path thinking he knew the doctor or something. And, I wasn't right in my assessment of what I thought was going on with Ethan, because, like I said, Freida McFadden is diabolical, and she flips the script every time you think you know what's happening. And so I'm trying not to give away any spoilers here, but I will say that things started to become a little apparent, because there were some other things that were discovered at the house. And there was a person of interest who may have known something about Adrian, or where she currently was or wasn't. And because she had a boyfriend, a guy named Luke, he came into the story. And it was just crazy how all of a sudden there was a chapter where everything was kind of made clear as to what was going on, and you just didn't know who could be trusted, right? Because two of the people knew exactly where Adrian was, right? And you just didn't know, like, what was going to happen to that third person, or if they were all going to make it out alive, or what, was going to become of that entire situation. And I will tell you, the way that it ended, because throughout the whole story, it reminded me of the Geneva Rose story, You Shouldn't Have Come Here, where it was just like all these obvious red flags. Like the guy had a lock on the basement and he was saying all this weird stuff, and the main female character was like totally ignoring them and falling for him or whatever. Like when you're watching like a horror movie, and it's all the same tropes, like, going into the woods at night, like doing dumb shit that the authors or the writers or the creators, they put that in there on purpose, right? It wasn't because they thought it was clever or it was something different or new, or that they did it on purpose. And it makes stuff, I feel like, a bit campy. Like this is satirical and like we can't take this serious. It started to get like that at the end, like as the more you went through it, and especially after the twist was revealed and you realize that not only were Trisha and Ethan match made in heaven for each other, but that also they had perhaps actually found their dream house, because it was perfect for a couple like them. And that's all I'm gonna say about that. This book was, it was equal parts like thriller, you know, because there was just always something going on. I even feel like it had like a little scary element because, you know, like I said, she knew somebody was in that house with them, right? And to find out who it ends up being, or if there's actually a person there, you know, it had you like, it was kind of nail biting. There was the mystery element because, you know, with the past flashbacks, we, you know that Adrian was very much alive at one point and very much happy with her current life. So would she have just left it voluntarily? We start to learn about all these wacky ass patients that she had. And then you start to wonder, like, could one of them have hurt her? Or could she have like left town because this whole thing was happening? So there was always the mystery of what happened to Adrian, you know, during that particular time. And that house was just, that house in itself was a character because of all the weird things that were going on in there. But it all became crystal clear at the end of it. At one point, I felt like, okay, this was just too convenient, you know, but the explanation was there and it was very plausible. I mean, it made sense. You know, it made sense that it could be the way that she chose to end it. Yeah, so I feel like one of the comments that I made in my notes was that this book snuck up on me because it seemed so like simple on its face. And it wasn't even until halfway through that you're like, okay, there's something else going on here. There's something else going on here. So all in all, I felt it was an engaging read. It was a very quick read for me. This is one of those books I feel like that would get you out of a reading slump. Like if you're having a problem getting into a certain book or something's not holding your interest, I think that Never Lie would be a book to kind of, you know, get you out of that slump. Ever since I read the story, I've been trying to determine like if there's a secret meaning behind the title. And the only thing I could come up with is, you know, never lie, because somebody will always find out what you did or what you said. And that is pretty much what happens in this book, to sum it all up. I have heard, too, that this book is going to be made into a series. I think on Netflix, if I'm not mistaken, that somebody has purchased the rights. I could see it becoming like a limited series. I really can. And I am really anxious to see how they do this adaptation and who they cast, because you've got to get the right people. You have got to get the right actors to pull off what was happening in this book, because I think you need someone who can play the role of being oblivious and then flip it and be like, you know, a puppet master. Because let me stop because I could go on and on. Never Lie by Freida McFadden. If you have read this book, I would love to know your thoughts and what you thought about the twist that happened, because there were multiple twists in this book. Let me know in the comments. Thank you guys so much for watching. Make sure that you like this video. And if you have not taken the opportunity to do so, go ahead and subscribe to my channel. Thanks again. I'll see you next week. Bye. Oh, and happy Thanksgiving.